Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Texas Association for College Admission Counseling Virtual College Fair. Thank you so much for joining us. A few housekeeping announcements before we get started. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. Your camera and microphone are off, so the panelists cannot see or hear you. This is just one of many different sessions happening, so be sure to sign up for additional sessions. And this session is being recorded and will be available within about a week at strivescan.com/probe. I'd now like to turn it over to our presenters. Our first presenter today is Goldsmiths, University of London.
Hello, everyone. My name is Will Abraham, and I am the International Officer for Goldsmiths, University of London. I am based in Brooklyn, New York. And Goldsmiths is a top-tier public research institution. We were founded in 1891 and have been part of University of London since 1904. Our student body is around 10,000 students, very diverse. About 35% of our students come from outside the UK, from over 140 countries. We have a really sizable LGBTQ+ population on campus. More than half our students are students of color, and nearly half are first-generation students who have never had a family member go to college before. If you do come abroad to Goldsmiths, you won't be alone. We have about 380 Americans on campus in any given year. We also have a student-faculty ratio of about 14:1, and we have no lecture halls on campus. So if you're really looking for sort of that smaller workshop, seminar, or small lecture style classroom, definitely a great place to check out. We've also committed to a Green New Deal, excuse me, 2 years ago. And by 2025, we plan to be 90% carbon neutral. To that end, we have banned beef on our campus, single-use plastics. We've installed solar panels all over our buildings. So a lot of different initiatives going on campus, and we hope students will be on board with that. We're located about 10 minutes from the city center. So you'll notice that we have a tube station literally right next to our campus, New Cross Gate, that will get you right into the city center in 10 to 15 minutes. Great access for all those wonderful work placements and internships that London has to offer. And London is a bustling metropolis. We have around 12 million people in the metro area. And it's the largest city in the UK by far. It's a financial center, a cultural center for the UK and wider Europe. We have amazing theater on the West End, hundreds of art galleries and museums, tons of music venues, great sports venues all over the city. Premier League is obviously huge, so those soccer fans in the room will definitely be able to take in some games. Our campus is a single site, so you'll notice that we have residence halls located both on campus and just off campus for you, and all of our undergraduate courses are housed inside that yellow dotted line. On campus, we have a gym, a public movie theater, a contemporary art museum, tons of different restaurants and cafes, a 24/7 library. There's always something to do. Our college green is a great place to grab lunch when it's nice out as well. London's not always rainy. It's actually quite sunny most of the time. And we also have amazing cuisine all over Southeast London where we're located. It's not going to be just, tea and fish and chips. So don't have to worry about that monotony. Our academics focus on the humanities, fine and performing arts, social sciences. We have a school of education, social work, law, and also an undergraduate business school that last year was ranked in the top 10 according to The Guardian. We are very well known for our communications and media program. We're number 7 in the world and number 1 in the UK for that. And also art and design, we're number 14 in the world and number 3 in the UK. Some other popular programs that students will participate in are listed here. We have about 70 undergraduate majors that are either joint honors, combining 2 of these programs, or single honors with just 1 of these programs. This is a non-exhaustive list, but it gives you an idea of everything that we offer on campus. In brief, the UK education system is a little different than what you might be used to. In England, we have 3-year bachelor's degrees. You'll also hear from some Scottish universities tonight that have 4-year degrees, but here we have 3-year degrees. They are shorter and more focused, so there's no core curriculum, there's no general education requirements, and you're only going to be taking courses that are related to your subject that you've chosen. So you apply directly to a degree program and what we consider direct entry. We also have a post-study work visa that will allow you to remain in the UK for up to 2 years after you graduate. At Goldsmiths, we require an unweighted GPA of 3.0, and we have gone test optional for this and next year's. So any current seniors or juniors in the room, you'll be able to apply without test scores. However, I've listed our test scores just as an FYI for any sophomores or freshmen. We are on UCAS, which I'm sure you'll hear plenty about today, so I'm not going to focus on it too much, and I'm happy to answer questions via email, but things to note are the deadline every year for priority applications is 15th of January, and that will guarantee your program for you. You can apply to up to 5 choices, just to note that it's very similar to the Common App and it's not scary, and all of us in the room tonight will definitely help you. Tuition and financial aid are quite comparable to public universities in the US and significantly cheaper than private universities. You'll have a total cost of attendance at Goldsmiths of around $37,000, $38,000 per year, and that's all inclusive. So tuition, accommodation, food, any sort of living expenses, books, visa fees, health insurance, transportation, etc. It's very inclusive. We also do offer scholarships to students, and we do accept federal loans and Parent Plus loans and any other funding that you might be able to find through external scholarships. Accommodation also does look slightly different from what you might be used to in US. We call it accommodation, not dorms. Our halls are both on and off campus, and we do guarantee housing for you in your first year. In your second and third years, it's very common for you to move off campus, however. We have suite style rooms. So it's going to be your own room with your own bathroom, and then you'll share a living space with other students. Lastly, we do offer work placements and internships, so please ask me about those. We pretty much guarantee them for all students in their second or third year. And if you have any other questions, feel free to email me or check out our social media or our website for our virtual tour. And I'll be passing it off to, I believe, SOAS.
Thank you so much. Our next presenter is SOAS University of London.
Hi there, everybody. I'm just going to share my screen with you. Okay, so I'm from SOAS University of London. SOAS University of London is located in the heart of London. It's a global top 50 for arts and humanities. We have world-class facilities, leading academics who are also practitioners in the field. We have small class sizes and a very flexible interdisciplinary degrees, and we are very diverse with a big international student population. In terms of our locations, as I said, we're right in the heart of London in Bloomsbury, so you can't get any more central than that. And really just a short walk from us is everything that you would want in terms of academic spaces, in terms of history, in terms of entertainment, and in terms of university facilities. In terms of our rankings, we're ranked very strongly, as I say, for our arts and humanities, and we're also ranked within 6 subjects in the UK top 10. We're ranked 5th for the UK in terms of student to staff ratio, and 3rd in the world for peace, justice and strong institutions. Some of our leading rankings would be 6th for development studies, 13th for anthropology in the world, 18th for politics in the world, and 19th for law in the UK, as well as number 1 in the UK for business and management. In terms of facilities, we're actually located in the heart of London, so we have 4 different buildings on a small site. In terms of these buildings, we have the Paul Webley Wing, and this is the newest of all of our buildings. It has state-of-the-art lecture theatres, study spaces, the student hub, careers space, student support and wellbeing centre, and informal and formal study spaces. In terms of our library, it's actually one of 5 national research libraries in the UK. It specialises in Asia, Africa and the Middle East. We're actually the largest library in Europe for East Asia and the 2nd to largest library in Europe for Middle East and Central Asia. In terms of student accommodation, we have accommodation within walking distance to the campus, and it starts from £130 per week, which in London is particularly affordable. In terms of our top subject areas, they're all listed here, but as I say, we run a very interdisciplinary approach. So you can combine any of these subject areas together or take classes in any of these areas. In terms of our languages, we're a bit different to the norm in terms of what we offer you. So you can really learn a huge range of languages with us, about 25 different languages in total. In terms of our student numbers, we have students from 135 different countries. We have 6,300 students on campus and around 4,000 distance learners. As you'll see, we're very international with 54% international and EU students and 46% UK. We have a range of different student societies, and really our students are our main selling point of the university. They do get involved. We're known as a university of activists, and that can mean anything from protests to education to getting involved in internships. So this just goes through some of the various different societies that we have and all the facilities that we have on campus. And then just to round up in terms of London, it is a very diverse city. You'll find that we have 300 different languages spoken in London, about 17,000 music performances, sorry, around 350,000 students, and we host a number of different festivals and events. Sorry. These are just some of our alumni. And in terms of your entry requirements, we do recognise the high school GPA, SATs, ACTs, APs, and dual enrolment credits. And these are just some of the living costs that we have in terms of our university and the tuition fees. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Our next presenter is London Metropolitan University.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Jadon Joyner, and I'm representing London Metropolitan University. And that is not how I really sound, but I always like to have really fun on these webinars. And so in all seriousness, my name is Jadon Joyner, and I'm an international officer representing London Met. I'm based in Los Angeles, California, and my job is to help students coming for study abroad, for any international program, and really help you with any question that you might have. And so I'm really looking forward to getting to know you all and talk to you all about London Met. So just a little bit about London Metropolitan. So we are based in London as well. We have two campuses. We have our Holloway Road campus and our Altgate campus. We have around 10,000 students, and like the other two London universities, we have a 3-year bachelor's program as well. And we also offer 1-year master's program. So you can kind of finish your schooling a little bit quicker at London Metropolitan. We have international scholarships, and we accept US financial aid and veterans benefits. And we have over 200 undergraduate and postgraduate programs. So one of the things that we are really excited about at London Metropolitan is our diversity. So we believe in making university accessible for students all over the world. And so over 60% of our students are BAME students, which stands for Black, Asian, and Minority Ethnic students. And we have students from over 147 different nationalities. And our US alumni and just students were growing. And so we're looking to add more international students and more US students to kind of build and add to that alumni network. And so one of our famous alumnuses is Sadiq Khan, who is actually the current mayor of London. And he really embodies that diversity as the first Muslim mayor of London. And he really believes in London as the higher education capital of the world. And that's something that London Metropolitan strives for as well. And so I'm going to go through a couple pictures just so you all can really get a feel for London Metropolitan and for our campus. And so this is an aerial view from our Holloway Road campus. And our Holloway Road campus is kind of pretty much our main campus. So it houses our library, our gym. If you are a football fan or a soccer fan, we are directly next to the Arsenal football Stadium, or the Emirates Stadium where Arsenal Football Club plays. We also have our business courses, our human science courses, our social science courses. And so just about pretty much anything that you can think of, we have at London Metropolitan. And then if you're more of an art student, this is our Altgate campus, which is located in East London, which houses our architecture, design, photography, creative writing courses. And so you can get a little, and all the Altgate campus students, they have access to both campuses. So you're not just regulated to one area. And so I'm going to go through a couple pictures again. This is our 30 million pound super lab, which is one of the largest science labs in all of Europe. These are this is one of our learning centers. And so what we've done is tried to combine classical elements of London with kind of a more modernized architecture. And so this is our learning center, along with some of our other cutting edge classrooms. This is our 100,000 pound TV studio and newsroom that students also have access to. And then some of our art and architecture and design studios. And I think it's really great because for me, I'm not really a great art student, but it's all awesome to really see some of the work of your of some of your classmates, because all this stuff is hanging around the halls. These are cafes, bars, and chill out zones. And you can kind of get a feel for just the camaraderie at London Metropolitan. And one thing that's great is just being in the heart of London. So we've heard a little bit about how great London is, but one thing is London was ranked the #1 city for international students in 2019. And so, beating out just all of these other cities. And that's just because of the melting pot of students who are there. So you're meeting students from all over the world. And then to add on to that, Heathrow's airport, which is London's flagship airport, is the most internationally connected airport in the world. So you can really get anywhere in the world from London. Just a picture of some of our gym and sports halls. And then a little bit about the application process. And so we have an autumn and a January start date, and we operate on rolling admissions. So if you are interested in applying, we take UCAS, but you can also apply directly from our website for free. And here are just a few other perks of being a student at London Met. And so again, it's kind of that global perspective that I mentioned earlier, really being able to have access to people from all over the world. And then one thing I actually forgot to mention is our Holloway Road campus is directly next to, or about 5-minute tube ride from St. Pancras Station, where you can actually take the Eurostar from London to Paris. And so the last thing I want to talk to you all about is just this do something you love tour, because it's in this time of pandemic, it's been very difficult to get a feel for campus, but I think this video does a really great job. And so if you just type this in on Google, you can actually get a feel for the campus and get a virtual tour. And so again, my name is Jadon Joyner. And so if you have any questions about the university, you can just email me at jadon.joyner@londonmet.ac.uk. And so next, I'm going to pass it to my other colleague.
Thank you so much. Our next presenter is University of Glasgow.
Hi guys, how's it going? We've seen a little bit of London, so I'm hoping to take you up to Scotland, and me and my colleague Melissa from Strathclyde will be able to introduce you to the city of Glasgow. Once I can share my screen for a second, give me one sec. Here we are. So welcome to Glasgow. So I think everybody is pretty familiar with Edinburgh, which is fine. It's the capital of Scotland. You should probably be familiar with it as far as geography is concerned, but Glasgow is the largest city in Scotland. So the image that you see here is from atop the University of Glasgow bell tower. The bell tower is a pretty staple part of the Glasgow skyline. And you see that how green Glasgow is. Glasgow in Scots Gaelic actually means dear green place. So even though you're in a major metropolitan city, if you need to take a break from city life and go hug a tree, it's very possible. And if you look on the background of the picture, you see the start of the Scottish countryside. So you can take a break from city life, go live your Outlander fantasy, about a 25-minute drive from the city. So you have the best of both worlds as far as all those creature comforts of a major metropolitan center, and then you can go take a break when you need to. As far as the university is concerned, A couple of quick facts. We were founded in 1451. It makes us one of the 4 Scottish ancient universities. We have a very traditional university offering for what you might be expecting from a US university. But to complement that ancient teaching tradition, we are ranked quite well. We're ranked currently 67th in the world, as well as 14th in the UK. So you have a great academic reputation to help complement all the tradition and the history that you'll be a part of. We are a large institution, about 29,000 total students, and we have students from over 140 different countries. So you have quite a diverse student population. And in Scotland, unlike the rest of the UK, there is a 4-year degree structure, so pretty similar to what you might be expecting in the US. Not quite as flexible with degree offerings, but you can still double major, single major, major minor. You just wouldn't be able to combine dissimilar subjects like an arts and a science. You would have to double up with sciences or the arts and humanities. If nobody's ever been to Scotland, we are quite proud of the fact that Scotland was voted the most beautiful country in the world by Rough Guides. This picture was taken atop Ben Am, the mountaintop overlooking Loch Katrine, closest loch to the city, about 20-30 minutes drive. So if anybody invites you for a hill walk, they are the smallest mountains that you will ever climb. So we really do mean it when we say that you have a lot of access to outdoor activities as well as those creature comforts within the city of Glasgow. I think Scottish culture is pretty proliferated in the US, so everybody's probably pretty familiar with bagpipes, kilts. However, you will see those, they're not made up. You'll see those throughout the city. There's live music everywhere. You'll hear bagpipes quite often. And so you can really kind of live the rich cultural history of Scotland. As far as the university is concerned, we are not based in city center. We are over in the west end of the city, and the university sits on top of a hill that overlooks the rest of the city. So the West End, it's a little bit of a quieter pace from city center, but it's this very romantic European style of living with the cobblestone streets. This is Ashton Lane, a very popular student street to travel down as you're on your way to class or going back home, but it's filled with bars, independent shops. You'll be passing patisseries and boulangeries and the independent coffee shops, and it's known as the foodie quarter of the city, so there are plenty of places to go grab a bite to eat that are great for impressing friends and family when they come to visit, and also more friendly for a student budget for sure. So you'll never be bored in the city. The university, here's a bird's eye view. It is a castle. It looks like Hogwarts. There's no way to ignore the comparisons. And the university owns most of the buildings that you see here on this screen. So we've got the main building, which is the castle, designed in the late 1800s and is certainly a landmark of the Glasgow skyline. We've got the engineering building down at the bottom right-hand screen. We've got GES, Geography and Earth Sciences, over to the left, and we've got our medical campus in this kind of glass building just down here. Across the street, we have our 13-story library, and at the moment, we are proud to house all of Shakespeare's manuscripts. So if we have any literature students, that will be a very important resource for you to take advantage of. And then we also have the Fraser building, which is kind of like a student union, and this is where you can grab a coffee on your way to class, grab a sandwich. It's also where the study abroad team is based, international student services, career services, the school bookstore, as well as the doctor's office on campus. You don't have to go very far. And even though it looks pretty spread out, it only takes about 15 minutes to walk from one point to the other. Entry requirements, we are going to be looking for students to have either with the IB diploma 32 to 38 on the IB diploma, and that's the full diploma. And these points include TOK, extended essay. If you're doing the US curriculum, we are looking for 3 tests at AP level with at least a 4. However, you can substitute one of those AP tests with either the SAT or the ACT, just not both. And then because COVID has kind of kicked everybody's butts, we will be going test optional. And if you want to apply test optional, we'll be looking for a 3.5 GPA. And then we'll be hoping to see either AP, honors, or dual enrollment courses within relevant subjects for the degree that you're applying for. As far as what's on offer, a little bit of everything except for fine arts. So if we have any students looking for painting, drawing, sculpting, you can look at the Glasgow School of Art, but the University of Glasgow wouldn't be the best fit for you. However, we have over 400 degree combinations, so feel free to take a browse and let me know. And I don't think I mentioned, but there's a QR code in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. Feel free to scan it, pop in your details, and then we can have a chat on any of the subjects that you're looking for. But reputation precedes us for Veterinary sciences, we're #1 in the UK. You can practice, you can graduate in Glasgow on a Friday, practice in the US on a Monday. It transitions back beautifully. We're also ranked #1 for languages, film and television production, and then in the top 5 for chemistry, chemistry, engineering, classics. You don't have quite a high ranking because you're bad at things. As far as tuition is concerned, and this will be the last slide for me, tuition, you'll see a range, but if you're looking at arts and humanities classes in the classroom, you're looking at just over $24,000 US. And then as we get into the sciences, there's the timer, as we get into the sciences, that fee will increase. So I think that will be it for me. So I will stop sharing.
Thank you so much. Our next presenter is University of Strathclyde.
Hi everyone, thanks very much for that. Let me just share my screen with you all. So my name is Melissa Cunningham and I'm Senior International Recruitment Officer at the University of Strathclyde in Glasgow, Scotland. And I look after anyone from the US who of course is interested in coming to study at our wonderful institution. And it was just a bit of nostalgia there for me as Jason was going through his presentation, as I did my undergrad at the University of Glasgow, but I got the best of both worlds because I was only one of very few students in my year at high school who went to study at Glasgow. Most of my friends at high school went to study at the University of Strathclyde. So I got to visit this university where I work quite often. So here we are, we're in the centre of Glasgow, as you can see from this picture, this photo. And Jason had mentioned this before, so if you're walking from the University of Glasgow, you may be walking a good 40-45 minutes to get into the downtown area where the University of Strathclyde is located. And it's a really nice scenic walk as well. Jason's mentioned this as well, but just to recap a little bit about Glasgow, we are the biggest city in Scotland. We're about a 45-minute train or bus ride from Edinburgh, which is the capital. Loads going on in Glasgow, as Jason had mentioned. If you're into arts, culture, sports, we're the UNESCO City of Music as well. We have over 140 concerts and gigs per week. And we do have 6 universities in and around Glasgow, so quite a large, vibrant student population in the city. And again, and you'll maybe hear from my accent, of course, I am based in Glasgow, and I am testament, I feel that we are a pretty friendly bunch. Glasgow itself, we've been voted multiple times now as the friendliest city in the world. Some great transport links as well to get to the city. So if you are coming via London from the US, we're an hour flight. We do have an international airport, which is 20 minutes just outside of the city. And you can see some lovely photos here as well. Quite a diverse kind of architecture, green spaces and parks, this wonderful spaceship type building that you can see at the bottom here. And that's actually our SECC Hydro, which is one of the largest concert venues in the world. I think it's something like it's second to Madison Square Gardens, I think, in terms of ticket sales, something like that anyway, so it is pretty huge. So we're the university, we're here in the downtown area. We're quite a self-contained campus, as you'll see from this outline. It takes maybe 5 to 10 minutes to walk from one end of the campus to the other. And from the, you can see here as well, the little green sort of green squares that you can see dotted about. Those are some of our main train and bus stations as well. So about a 5-10 minute walk to the main transport areas as well. Glasgow is a really safe, walkable city. And you can see here a bird's eye view of the campus. Again, quite a diverse nature in terms of green spaces, in terms of building types, a mix of the old versus the new. Some of our newer state-of-the-art facilities, our sciences and our biomedical sciences here, right across from our on-campus housing as well. And so the University of Strathclyde, we're known as the place of useful learning. We're not so old as the University of Glasgow, but we are quite old. We were founded in 1796, just at the end of the 18th century. We have 23,000 students from over 100 different countries. And we are the only UK university to have won Times Higher Education UK University of the Year twice now. So we're really proud of that. And rising in the rankings year on year as well. We have really big, really cool connections with the US. We have some summer schools on offer. We have our Fulbright summer school. We have connections with NASA. Fun fact for you as well, that one of the University of Strathclyde alum was the first Scotland-born player to play for the NFL. That's pretty cool. And we do welcome over 100 students from the US to the university every year. So just very quickly a little bit about our undergraduate study. It's a 4-year degree system in Scotland. We have 4 faculties at Strathclyde: engineering, our business school, humanities and social sciences, and science. And for humanities and business, you pick and choose different subjects in the first 2 years of study before you decide what you want to major in. So huge choice here of flexibility and breadth of study. Here to give you an example of how the humanities and social sciences degree course is structured. How to apply? You can apply through UCAS, which is the UK admission system. You can also go online and apply directly to Strathclyde. You can choose through UCAS up to 5 course choices. And the University of Strathclyde, what with COVID at the moment, we have gone test optional. So we will be looking at a 3.0 GPA, as well as any honours classes, EP classes, college credit, dual credit classes that you are doing. So we will be looking quite thoroughly into your transcript. Very, very cheap way of living in Glasgow as well, just an approximation here of course fees and living expenses. And we do offer faculty scholarships between £2,000 and £5,000 per year. We do accept federal aid as well at Strathclyde. And in terms of student life as well, we do have a state-of-the-art sports centre, student union, over 100 different clubs and societies, disability and wellbeing services, study skills and career service. And you can find out more information from myself as well. Sorry, I realise that I'm flying through this presentation. 6 minutes is just never enough, but you can find lots more information. Go onto our Strathclyde's webpage, onto our USA country page. My details are here, and feel free, of course, pop your questions on the chat. And thanks for listening.
Okay, thank you so much to our presenters. If you wouldn't mind just popping back on camera, I do have a couple of questions for you all to go through, just to kind of give a little extra insight and some feedback, additional facts about your schools to our students here. So the first is, what advice would you give someone going through the college search process? And we could start with London Metropolitan.
I think the big advice that I would give is to ask questions. A lot of the universities, they have options where you can chat with current students. And so I would kind of advise students just do that, chat with the students and really ask them every question that you can think of, because it is a big step to study abroad or to go to school abroad, but it's definitely going to be one of the most enriching experiences. And so definitely get as much information that you can from current students as possible.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and hop on. What I would say to, to all students looking, it's pretty tough. Number one, it's pretty cool to do what you're doing to possibly consider international, but it is a big decision. So when you are looking at your options, please look at what international links that any potential university that you might attend has. Even if you can't come abroad for your full degree for undergrad, please go abroad in any capacity. Almost all universities have international links with short-term programs. You can go with a faculty professor. You can come abroad for a semester, for a full year. You can do a summer program. You can do a winter term. Go abroad in some capacity. I think we've all kind of recognized that your undergrad doesn't quite give you that foot in the door that you need. However, those international networks that you can create to be able to kind of offer that as a job, as part of your package when you're going into a job offer, of having those international networks is so invaluable. And you have plenty of places to crash on the couch all over the world when you do go traveling.
Yeah, I could probably jump in and add something to that. Just in terms of looking at the UK, it does tend to be very subject focused. So even though at universities like myself, you will be able to combine a few different programs through either a single or joint honours or just doing a few different elective modules, generally speaking, we're very, very subject specific. So just make sure that you're aware of that and you've kind of researched that. And then when you're applying in the US, you can quite often apply to maybe 10 or more schools. But when you're applying in the UK, you have to only apply to 5, ideally. And so really it's about researching those schools. And I always get asked, what is your acceptance rate? And I know that when I've spoken to a number of colleges in the US, they have acceptance rates that go anywhere from like as low as kind of 11% upwards to about 30%. And then not many have above that. In terms of the UK, our acceptance rates are much higher because you're self-selecting. We put on our websites exactly what we need in terms of your grades. And so you can really, if you do the research, pick 5 schools that will be making you offers.
Yeah, now I would just jump in as well to just expand on what some of my colleagues had said in terms of going onto the university's website as well, going onto their YouTube. So obviously there's lots of different types of social media and we are all very active in terms of popping on student testimonials on YouTube. There's loads of student Instagram takeovers. TikTok is a huge thing that all of our universities are getting on board with as well. So that's quite nice to see a different kind of down to earth aspect of the universities to see what student life is really like. I'm sure that most, if not all, of our universities are doing virtual tours at the moment as well. Certainly at Strathclyde, we're organising lots of webinars over the coming weeks and months. So do get involved in those as well and ask your questions, get your parents, guardians, your friends on board, your counsellors involved in this as well, you know, and just use all of them as a sounding board. And I'm sure everyone would be really excited as well for you and going on this new experience.
Thank you. A final question, what is a favorite event or tradition on campus?
So I'll start us off again. I would say, I guess we kind of call it D-Day. So it's just that initial, you land in Heathrow Airport and just the atmosphere of orientation and kind of meeting all the students from all over the world, really getting a feel for London that first time. It's just really I would almost say just like a magical experience kind of coming from the US specifically. And so yeah, just being around and just being welcomed, it's an amazing experience, that orientation.
Yeah, I'll hop on. So with the University of Glasgow, the one with the castle, there are 2 courtyards on the inside. So the outside is very Harry Potter. The inside is very Minas Tirith, Lord of the Rings. There's a there's a tree and a little patch of grass on the inside. However, no students will touch the grass. It's a big student myth that if you touch the grass on the courtyards on the inside, you will fail your exams. So at the end of your 4 years at Glasgow, there's a big student party with a graduation where all of the graduating seniors crowd the lawn because there's nothing to fail. So they feel like they can finally touch this forbidden grass because there's nothing to fail yet, fail anymore. So do not touch the grass until you're graduating senior.
Maybe I'll jump in next. It's actually something that pretty much happens every day on campus. And it is, we have a Hare Krishna man who comes on campus and feeds us all for free, very delicious food. And so it's a very interesting sight to see, because when I first got there, I thought, okay, this is going to be students who maybe decided they want a free lunch that day, or, you know, they just want a different kind of lunch than they would normally have. But actually you'll see it's absolutely everybody. So it's all the lecturers, it's all the students, it's the canteen staff because they have no one to serve. It's pretty much everybody that you'll see on campus, and it's a great student feeling. And people now have come to, instead of going there and getting the food and taking it away, everybody, even if it's raining, will stand there with their Tupperware and just eat all together. So it's really nice kind of communal feeling.
Yeah, and for us at Strathclyde, just to add to what Jason was saying, I never walked on the glass when I was at Glasgow Uni. only until I got my degree. So there you go, that is so true. But for the University of Strathclyde, I would say more Scotland in general, a very recent tradition, and I mentioned this at a past webinar, is Rabbie Burns or Robert Burns Day. So this is at the end of January, where Scotland celebrates our national poet, Robert, or we call him Rabbie Burns. And this is a whole feast, really, lots of food that's dedicated to this tradition. If you've ever heard of haggis, that's what we traditionally eat on Robert Burns Day. We do have the very stereotypical kilts and bagpipes as well, lots of traditional music on this day, ceilidhs as well, which is a traditional Scottish dance. So yeah, that's a really nice kind of feel good, certainly as well, just in the new year or just after New Year. And all of our students, our student societies getting involved in arranging different things for Robert Burns Day. So that's quite a nice tradition that we get involved in.
Well, thank you everyone for sharing those facts and that advice. And thank you everyone for joining us tonight. When this window closes, there will be a link to a very quick 4-question survey. We'd appreciate your feedback. Also, this is just one of many sessions being hosted, so please be sure to sign up for additional sessions. And finally, in about a week, you'll be able to find this session's recording as well as all of our other session recordings at strivescan.com/Texas. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much to our hosts or to our presenters tonight, many of whom are up late because of time zones. And have a wonderful evening, everyone. Bye.